Here at Mantra Central, we've been building up to the Bhagavatam. That's what the first canto is building. And now we've actually made it here today to Bhagavatam actually beginning. And it begins in a very potent way in which very directly all the answers are given, and then the whole rest of the Bhagavatam, those answers are expanded and expanded and expanded upon. But if we can get the essence of the beginning answers, we can have a definitely clear picture as to what the direction for auspiciousness or a blessed life is. Because right now we don't know. Right now we think, this will make me happy, or this will make me happy, or this will bring good fortune to my life. But actually we have no idea what brings good fortune. If we knew what would bring good fortune, we'd have a fortunate life. Does that make sense? But because we're all feeling a bit misfortunate in life, or at least, maybe if you're like beginning in spiritual life, you can compare yourself to all the other people of this world and be like, I'm quite fortunate. And you'd be right, you are quite fortunate in comparison to the majority of people in this material world. But if we actually look at our position in this material world and the miseries that are forced upon everybody here, we're not very fortunate at all, actually. And if you compare yourself to the residents of the spiritual world, which is described in the Bhagavatam, everybody in this material world is very unfortunate. So, if you want to compare yourself to the, other, it's like being in a prison, and you're like, I'm the best behaved prison, and sometimes I get special services at the prison. I get the wardens are nicer to me, or they even give me a nice job, because in prisons they also get jobs and they get paid a little bit of money, like $1 or something a day, So it's like being proud of your position in this material world is like that. I'm a little bit better situated, but you're still in the prison. You're still in the material world. We're not really that well situated. So the Bhagavatam is telling what is the duty for all persons in all times and all circumstances, especially what is the duty of one who is on the verge of death, which was discovered last class. We're all on the verge of death. So what's the answer? We will find out. But before we begin, we will do our Mangalacharana. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militang Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtang Stapitang Yena Bhutale Svayang Rupa Kadamayang Dadati Swapadantikang Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupang Sagrajatang Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitang Savadutang Parijana Sahitang Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bando Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Dadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishe Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatadine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I'd foremost like to offer my obeisances unto the gurus in my life, from which without their mercy, both Diksha and Shiksha, I would have only misfortune here, now, and forevermore. So I feel that there's great hope in my life due to the presence of and the blessings of my gurus. So before anything, I'd like to offer my deep respects to them, and hopefully something I say could be in alignment with their teachings and their mercy upon me. I then would like to offer my obeisances unto all of my Param Gurus, the entire Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, from which this message, timeless message, has been passed down eternally from God to us, from the Lord. So I offer them my heartfelt obeisances, and then finally I'd like to offer my obeisances onto all the Vaishnavas, all 2 of you in the room right now, and Divyanshu will maybe come and switch out with Tanu. So, Vanchakalpa Turabhishta Kripa Sandhidevacha Patitanam Pavanidya Vaishnavya Namo. And to all the Vaishnavas, past, present, future. So many wonderful the Lord's servants are spanning through the existence and giving mercy. And so it's our good fortune if we get to meet them in this life. So, we're here in the Bhagavatam, but before we begin, we just sang a nice bhajan, Gauranga Bolite Habi. It's a short bhajan, so it won't go long. So, Gauranga Bolite Habe Pulaka Sharira. So, when will I, upon chanting Gauranga, when will Pulaka Sharira, the hair on my body, stand on end? Hari Hari Bolitenai. Upon chanting Hari Hari, when will Nayane Babinira, when will my eyes overflow with tears? And then Arakabe Nitai Chanjer, Karuna Hoibe, and when will the moon like Nityananda bestow his mercy upon me? Sangsara Vasana Mora, Kabe Tucha Habe, and when will my material desires become insignificant? Vishaya Chadiya Kabe Shudahabe Mana, when will my mind, as a result of my renouncing material enjoyment, become purified? Kabe Hama Herabo Shri Vrindavana, when will I behold Sri Vrindavan? So when will my mind become purified from renouncing material enjoyment? Vishaya, giving up, Chadiya, Vishaya, this sense gratification. And when will I behold Sri Vrindavan, which is the spiritual abode? That's our goal, actually. We want to behold the spiritual realm, the spiritual existence. It doesn't exist like somewhere out there, It's actually ever present, especially to the pure devotees. But because we have low consciousness, we can't perceive it. Just like a butterfly. I don't know if you know this, but butterflies can actually see so many colors and lights that we can't see. So we can look at the same light and we don't see anything, but the butterfly can see. Like a dog, like dog whistles. They play on the subtle hearing that the dog has. They have a finer sense of hearing than us. So they can blow a whistle and it doesn't sound like anything to us, practically. But the dog is like, it really can disturb them. Why? Because they have a higher... So the spiritual abode is like that. It's a finer, subtler realm that can only be perceived by the eyes tinged with the ointment of love. The prem given to those able to see. So Vrindavan is like that. So he's saying, when will I see? When will I behold Vrindavan? Rupa Raghunatha Pade, the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami, Hoi Baya Kuti, when will I develop eagerness for them? Kabe Hama Bhuja Bose Jugala Piriti, by whose mercy I'll be able to understand the love of the divine couple, Jugala Piriti, this divine couple's love. Sarupa and Raghunath Goswami, Das Goswamis are brahmacharyas, and they also they set the moods for a lot of the finer sentiments on how the Gaudiya Vaishnavas are to worship and approach Radha and Krishna. So without them, and studying their contributions from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we actually do, Nectar of Devotion is Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and Nectar of Instruction is Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita, And then there's many works of Raghunath Das Goswami that are worth studying, like Manashiksha and the Stavavali. I haven't studied all of that, but Manashiksha is part of it. And you can get a lot of the finer sentiments. In India, I was studying one of Raghunath Das Goswami's works, the Mukta Charita. And it's a very, very nice set of pastimes, but there's so many sweet and deep meanings, rich with the sentiments that those who are sincerely practicing on our tradition, that they'll have in the higher realms of, you could say, bhakti and their bhajan. So, very, without them, we'll never understand the love of we'll never be able to understand these higher sentiments, actually. And all of our acharyas, they share and glorify these higher revelations given by them to us. So Rupa Raghunatha Pade, at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath Das, Rahu Mora Asha, let all my hopes and aspirations remain. Prarthana Karoye Sada, this is the constant prayer of Naratamadas. This is his prayer. That's why it says in the first canto, first shloka, first purport of the Bhagavatam by Srila Prabhupada, that the devotee, the advancing devotee will do well to study the works of our Goswamis. For this reason, because you'll never, even if, let's just say you just study Prabhupada's books, but because you'll never understand the references of Srila Prabhupada, what he's drawing from, where he's drawing from, you will inevitably misinterpret or not understand the depth of what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Like the normal sound spectrum is one way to our ears, but if there's something like a dog whistle, you can hear much more things. But if you perceive the Goswami's works and contributions on the finer sentiments of bhakti, you can see how Srila Prabhupada also, it's present in Srila Prabhupada's books, but because it would never come easily to it would never come at all actually to the ordinary course of understanding. You didn't pick up the references. So really we would do incredibly well to study, and that's why Srila Prabhupada, he started with sharing Rupa Goswami's works, and but we would do really well to study our Goswami's literature at some point in this lifetime. It may take a long time to get to that ability, but we actually even have millions of lifetimes to develop this, and the Vaishnava has no problem with coming back again and again to keep going. So, where are we in Bhagavatam? Maharaj Pariksit, he wanted to know what a man should hear, chant, remember, and worship, and what he should not do. And we were talking about this yesterday, how important that is to know what needs to be done. And so, Tanu, it'll be your job, since you're the one hearing, that you also have to chant and share this with Divyanshi, because if he misses, then what good will there be? It's very important to know these things. So, that's where we, Maharaj Pariksit was begging him to show the way of perfection for all persons, and especially for one who's about to die. So he's reiterating what he asked. And now, Shukadeva Goswami is going to reply. Very exciting, actually. So let's finish the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, these last two verses, and then we'll see his reply. Nunang Bhagavato Brahman Griheshu Grihamedinam Nalakshyate Hyavasthanam Apigo Dohanam Kvachit. Nunam, because Bhagavata, of you who are powerful. Brahman. O Brahmana, Griheshu, in the houses. Grihamedinam, of the householders. Na, not. Lakshite, are seen. He, exactly. Avasthanam, staying in. Api, even. Go. Go dohanam, milking the cow. Kwachi, rarely. Translation. O powerful Brahman, it is said that you hardly stay in the houses of man long enough to milk a cow. Purport. Saints and sages in the renounced order of life go to the houses of the householders at the time they milk the cows, early in the morning, and ask some quantity of milk for subsistence. So this is kind of some culture of how they would, go and get their sustenance for the day. A pound of milk fresh from the milk bag of a cow is sufficient to feed an adult with all vitamin values, and therefore saints and sages live only on milk. Even the poorest of the householders keep at least 10 cows. Just see how poor we are now. We have no cows. At least 10 cows, each delivering 12 to 20 quarts of milk, and therefore no one hesitates to spare a few pounds of milk for the mendicants. It is the duty of householders to maintain the saints and sages, like the children. So a saint like Shukadeva Goswami would hardly stay at the house of a householder for more than 5 minutes in the morning. In other words, such saints are very rarely seen in the houses of householders, and Maharaj Pariksit therefore prayed to him to instruct him as soon as possible. The householders also should be intelligent enough to get some transcendental information from visiting sages. The householders should not foolishly ask a saint to deliver what is available in the market. That should be the reciprocal relation between the saints and the householders. So the householder should not ask the saint to deliver some blessings that you could get some material benefit. You could go out to the market and get that, go out in the material world and secure those benefits. But what's making the saint so rare is not his ability to, bestow upon you your material wishes. Is that he has transcendental information that can help you have spiritual knowledge, spiritual vision that will deliver you from the miseries of this world and then give you access to the dealings of divine love. So we should not be foolish. Also, we should understand this word grihamedinam, of the householders. This is a very the common people are all in the grihamedi phase of life, the common, the basic householder. But it's said in the Bhagavatam by Prahlad Maharaj, this is a dark well that cannot be escaped, trying to find pleasure here. So what is recommended is grahastha ashram, becoming a grahastha, one who's following Vedic principles in one's householder life and actually gradually detaching from the household pleasures of the world. And let's begin. Sutu vacha evam abhashita prishta saragya shlakshnaya gira pratyabhashata dharmagyo Bhagavan Badarayani. Okay, Sutu vacha. Sri Suta Goswami said, Evam, thus, abhashita, being spoken, prishta, and asked for, saha, he, ragya, by the king, shlakshnaya, by sweet, gira, language, pratyabhashata, began to reply, dharmagya, one who knows the principles of religion, Bhagavan, the powerful personality, Badarayani, son of Vyasadeva. So Sri Suta Goswami said, the king thus spoke and questioned the sage, using sweet language. Then the great and powerful personality, the son of Vyasadeva, who knew the principles of religion, began his reply. And this is the end of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So congratulations, mainly to you, Parth, because you were here for the whole thing, and me and you. And then, but also, Tanu, welcome, and now we'll get to see Canto 2. So this chapter is called The First Step in God Realization. Oh no, what have I done? Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Yes, this is the beginning of the Bhagavatam. Isn't that nice? Om. Oh my Lord. Namaha. My respectful obeisances unto you. Bhagavate. Unto the personality of Godhead. Vasudevaya. Unto Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Yeah, Vasudeva also meaning the all-pervading Lord. O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Vasudevaya means to Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Since by chanting the name of Krishna, Vasudeva, one can achieve all the good results of charity, austerity, and penances, it is to be understood that by the chanting of this mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, the author or the speaker or any one of the readers of Srimad Bhagavatam is offering respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the principles of creation are described, and thus the first canto may be called creation. Similarly, in the second canto, the post-creation cosmic manifestation is described. The different planetary systems are described in the second canto as different parts of the universal body of the Lord. For this reason, the second canto may be called the cosmic manifestation. There are 10 chapters in the second canto, and in these 10 chapters, the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam and the different symptoms of this purpose are narrated. The first chapter describes the glories of chanting, and it hints at the process by which the neophyte devotees may perform meditation on the universal form of the Lord. In the first verse, Shukadeva Goswami replies to the questions of Maharaj Parikshit, who asked him about one's duties at the point of death. Maharaj Parikshit was glad to receive Shukadeva Goswami, and he was proud of being a descendant of Arjuna, the intimate friend of Lord Krishna. Personally, he was very humble and meek, but he expressed his gladness that Lord Krishna was very kind to his grandfathers, the sons of Pandu, especially his own grandfather, Arjuna. And because Lord Krishna was always pleased with Maharaj Parikit's family, at the verge of Maharaj Parikit's death, Shukadeva Goswami was sent to help him in the process of self-realization. Remember we talked yesterday how if you become a devotee, Krishna gives special attention to your family members. Even if they're not qualified. Maharaj Parikit is so qualified. But even if they're not qualified, he'll give special attention to them because he knows, the dear feelings of the devotee, even towards their relatives. And actually, because you don't get a devotee in a family unless some Sukriti has come. Meaning that family, in that lineage of ancestry, something wonderful has happened, that a devotee is able to arise from that family lineage. Actually, it's the perfection of the family lineage. So, but by you being a devotee, you continue to get purified more and more and more. You don't have to, oh my God, let me drop everything and serve my relatives. You don't have to, actually. It's not actually recommended at all. It's recommended purely try to serve Krishna, Krishna's representative through the Guru and Vaishnavas, and Krishna's instructions in the Shastras. And if you do like that, everything will be perfect. So Maharaj Parikit, he's feeling the blessings from having devotees in his family, and how this is how he's getting the blessings right now. So this is very nice. So the Lord arranged that Shukadeva Goswami was sent to help him in the process of self-realization. The Lord will arrange for your family members. There'll be some special devotee or person who is going to be sent to help them. As long as you take to this process. And as you make advancement, Krishna's mercy will also advance in you and your relatives' lives, actually. Everyone's life. So Shukadeva Goswami could understand. Maharaj Parikit was a devotee of Lord Krishna from his childhood, so he had natural affection for Krishna. Shukadeva Goswami could understand his devotion. Therefore, he welcomed the questions about the king's duty. Because the king hinted that worship of Lord Krishna is the ultimate function of every living entity, Shukadeva Goswami welcomed the suggestion and said, because you have raised questions about Krishna, your question is most glorious. The translation of the first verse is as follows. So he just gave a summary of this second, And the invocation was Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. So Shukadeva Goswami, he spoke this first. Or actually it might be Vyasadeva spoke this first, and now you're going to get Shukadeva Goswami's instruction. Shri Shukuvacha Varyaneshate Prashna Kritoloka Hitang Nirpa Atmavi Samata Pungsang Shrotavyadi Shuya Paraha. Shri Shukuvacha, Shri Shukadeva Goswami said, Varyan, glorious, Esha, this, Te, your, Prashna, question, Krita, made by you, Lokahitam, beneficial for all men, Nirpa, O king, Atmavi, transcendentalist, Samata, approved, Pungsang, of all men, Shrotavya Adishu, in all kinds of hearing, Yaha, what is, Para, the Supreme. Translation. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, my dear king, your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question is the prime subject matter for hearing, and it is approved by all transcendentalists. So he's glorifying him asking such a question. Because actually a guru cannot help a disciple who's not properly situated. So unless the disciple wants to know, is humble and wants to know the ultimate auspiciousness of life, unless he's qualified in that way, then he can't be a proper disciple, and the guru cannot properly help him. So it's in our best interest, we should learn how to be a proper disciple and then act accordingly. And then we can have a proper guru help us. So this is a glorious set of questions by Maharaj Parikit. And it's beneficial to all kinds of people. And it is the main subject matter for hearing. This is the main thing. We hear so many things, business meetings, this, that, and the other. Even I had a little business meeting this morning. It happens. But these things should all center around the prime subject matter for hearing. What is life's ultimate perfection? What really needs to be performed in life? And it's approved by all transcendentalists. Purport. Even the very question is so nice that it is the best subject matter for hearing. Simply by such questioning and hearing, one can achieve the highest perfectional stage of life. Because Lord Krishna is the original Supreme Person, any question about Him is original and perfect. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that the highest perfection of life is to achieve the transcendental loving service of Krishna. Because the questions and answers about Krishna elevate one to the transcendental position, the questions of Maharaj Parikit about Krishna philosophy, are greatly glorified. Maharaj Parikit wanted to absorb his mind completely in Krishna, and such absorption can be effected simply by hearing about the uncommon activities of Krishna. For instance, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that simply by understanding the transcendental nature of Lord Krishna's appearance, disappearance, and activities, one can immediately return home back to Godhead and never come back to this miserable condition of material existence. What verse is that he just quoted? Evamyo veti. Yes. Janma karma chame divyam. Evamyo veti tatvataha tyaktvadeha punarjanma mameti. What is it? Mam eti. No. We have to Janma karma chame devyam evam yaveti tatvataha tyaktva deha punarjanma naiti mameti sorjana. Naiti mameti sorjana. So it's very good. So he is saying like this. It is very auspicious, therefore, to hear always about Krishna. So Maharaj Parikit requested Shukadeva Goswami to narrate the activities of Krishna so that he could engage his mind in Krishna. The activities of Krishna are non-different from Krishna himself, And as long as one is engaged in hearing such transcendental activities of Krishna, he remains aloof or cold from the conditional life of material existence. The topics of Lord Krishna are so auspicious that they purify the speaker, the hearer, and the inquirer. They are compared to the Ganges waters, which flow from the toe of Lord Krishna. Wherever the Ganges waters go, they purify the land and the person who bathes in them. Similarly, Krishna Katha, where the topics of Krishna are so pure that wherever they are spoken, the place, the hearer, the inquirer, the speaker, and all concerned become purified. So this should be the main subject matter that we should hear about the Supreme Lord. And ultimately, what is the answer is going to be to what is the most beneficial thing that people should hear and study in all times and all circumstances are going to be this Krishna Katha, topics about the Lord. It'll purify and make perfect everything. There's so many topics in this world, and all of them will fail you, but topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of the Supreme Lord, will never. So, he's going to say it's the king of knowledge here. So, this must be text 2. Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nirnang Santi Sahasrashaha Apashyatam Atma Tattvam Graheshu Grahamedinam. Okay, Hare Krishna Tanya. Shrotavyadini, subject matters for hearing. Rajendra, O Emperor. Nirnam, of human society. Santi, there are. Sahasrashaha, hundreds and thousands. Apashyatam, of the blind. Atma Tattvam, knowledge of self, the ultimate truth. Graheshu, at home. Grahamedinam, of persons too materially engrossed. Translation. Those persons who are materially engrossed, the Grahamedis, at home, being blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth, that is the state of the people who take to household life, leave many subject matters for hearing in human society. O Emperor, in the revealed scriptures there are two nomenclatures for the householder's life. One is Grahastha and the other is Grahamedi. The Grahasthas are those who live together with wife and children but live transcendentally for realizing the ultimate truth. The Grahamedis, however, are those who live only for the benefit of the family members, extended or centralized, and thus they are envious of others. The word Medi indicates jealousy of others. It's really interesting. I didn't realize. The ones in their home, envious, the envious persons in their home. Why? Because you ever hear of the saying, keeping up with the Joneses? It's like a Western axiom. But everyone's trying to compete and keep up with, I have this in my home, my relatives, we have this situation. If you want to compete, you shouldn't even want to compete. But if you must compete, why don't you compete to see how, how much transcendental activity you can do in your home. This is actually... So the Grahamedi is actually, unfortunately, a Medi indicates jealousy of others. The Grahamedis, being interested in family affairs, are certainly envious of others. Therefore, one Grahamedi is not on good terms with another Grahamedi. There's quarrel. And in the extended form, one community, society, or nation is not on good terms with another counterpart of self-interest. So wars and all these. In the age of Kali, all the householders are jealous of one another because they are blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth. They have many subject matters for hearing, political, scientific, social, economic, and so on. But due to a poor fund of knowledge, they set aside the question of the ultimate miseries of life, namely miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. You notice that, I don't know what goes on in your family homes, but in my family homes, both my wife and myself, you go in and there's one of two things on, either entertainment in the form of sports or news. And there's so much news, so much things for hearing. But do they ever talk about what are the the ultimate miseries of life and how to overcome life's misery? No, it's just all like temporary, political, scientific, social, economic, and so on. So, but the ultimate miseries and real problems of life aren't addressed. And what's that? Birth, death, old age, and disease. What do we do with this awkward position that we're all in this world, suffering? Factually, the human life is meant for making an ultimate solution to birth, death, old age, and disease. But the Grihamedis, being illusioned by the material nature, forget everything about self-realization and just grind out our careers, or we grind out our family life. This is not what life is for. It's not what the human birth is for. The ultimate solution to the problems of life is to go back home, back to Godhead, and thus as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 8:16, the miseries of material existence, birth, death, old age, and disease are removed. Let me see, is this what I think it is? Oh no, it's not. So, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravarti Norjana Mam Upetya Tukanteya Punarjanma Navidyate. I think I remembered the verse before this, which is Mam Upetya Punarjanma Tukalayam Ashashvatam. So, I have to refresh. What happened here? What happened here? Okay. So where are we? Yes, so these are the real subject matters. We should discuss what are the real problems of life. We are talking of so many things, like what is my career problems, what is this problem, that my relationship problems, my temporary problems, my bill problems, all these things. But this is not subject matter to be discussed. These things really don't matter in the long term. So the process of going back home, back to Godhead, is to hear about the Supreme Lord and His name, form, attributes, pastimes, paraphernalia, and variegatedness. Foolish people do not know this. They want to hear something about the name, form, etc. of everything temporary, and they do not know how to utilize this propensity of hearing for the ultimate good. So we have a natural taste for hearing things. Right now we like to hear gossip, or we like to hear maybe some fictional stories in the form of fiction reading, or movies, or television series, or things like this. But these are all temporary things. But we should utilize our propensity for hearing for the ultimate good. We should hear about that which is always blessed to hear about. We should hear about the sublime and perfect instructions. So this should be what we hear about. You can even do this in your own... right now, everybody is very prominently listening to either music or podcasts or this and that. Everyone I see on the street, like even we go walking sometimes around the park, and we like to bring our chanting beads, so we just like to chant. But we see everyone around that, they've got the headphones in, or they're playing some music or some podcast or this and that. So the propensity to hear is there. But if you just hear about temporary things, oh, what did Donald Trump do now? Who cares what Donald Trump did now? Oh, what did this politician do? Who cares what scandalous thing that politician did? Who cares about what the money markets are doing? Who cares about what devious things the leaders of the world are getting into? Who cares about all these gossips and what celebrities are doing, or what the sports teams, how they competed and what they did, or even who cares about what Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone did? There's so many things that people are like, they'll absorb their consciousness. But why don't you hear some real solution to your life? Some people may accuse the religious people. Oh, well, you believe in fairy tales. You believe in, some things, some stories of the past. maybe you don't have faith or a realization that what we are suggesting is the ultimate truth. And for that, there's no real fault on that end, that you may not have an understanding or faith that it's the truth. But at the very least, the religious processes, they're spoken, all of them believe they are the truth. And two, they, practically you can see, they do give people real peace and real solutions to their life. Anyone could observe that. Like at death, what is noticed by all, usually by, what are they called, chaplains and, hospital workers and things like that, they notice that religious people are much more at peace at death than non-religious people. And they can actually, only religious people can approach death at peace. Why? Because if you're not religious, if you don't have a religious process, then death is the ultimate enemy to everything that you know, love, and there's no hope for, an atheist at death. Other than maybe I heard something about like a Carl Sagan or something, because he was a bit agnostic and he was excited to see the great unknown at death. But still, that's almost religious, trying to see what the cosmic universe has to offer. That's a form of the Lord. Actually, that's going to be one of the first teachings of Shukadeva Goswami. How to see the Lord in what's called the Advaita Gyan. The oneness or the universal connectivity of everything that we can perceive. It's very potent and powerful. So, we should understand what should be heard about. Like some of you, we're all in relationships with women. Yes? All of us in this room. And the tendency of women is more gossip than men. But we should check this gossip, and sometimes we can get engaged in the gossip. But it's in our best interest to help our women counterparts that we should, this gossip is not so important. Let's hear about the gossip of Krishna and the gopis. Let's hear about the actual transcendental subject matters. With children, so much blah blah yeah, blah, blah. Abhiram is making all kinds of sounds now, blah 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 blah. And you could sit there. The wheels on the bus go round and round. So my wife has done something. I don't even know where the wheels on the bus came from. I wasn't here. I went to India for 5 weeks and I come back and the wheels on the bus are always being sung. But at least now she's singing the wheels on the Rath, like she's talking about the Ratha Yatra cart. And then they talk about certain things that happen at the Ratha Yatra festival. Okay, better. I'm not a full sale, I don't fully subscribe to this. But you know what? It's better than, at least the Ratha Yatra is a transcendental festival. And with deep, rich spiritual meaning. So at least the consciousness can jump there. But yeah, with the children and everything, we just want to, fill their heads with nonsense and speak nonsense. And everyone's speaking nonsense. Meaning nobody's addressing what are the real problems of life. The economy, we have to fix the economy. Oh, AI is taking all of our jobs, we have to fix the jobs. Jobs are not the problem. The economy is not the problem. That we're here, that disease and old age are afflicting everyone and we all have to die. This is the real problems of life. What's the solution to this? Oh, don't worry about that. With the economy. Who cares about your economy? You're going to die. You're on the verge of death. Do you not understand? I actually felt this quite viscerally. I was in the airport on the way home, and because I went through Abu Dhabi, which is a contentious place in the world right now, we had to evacuate our gate and go to the center of the airport because there was fear of bombing nearby. And I guess the UAE's missile defense system was combating incoming missiles from Iran or something like that. So anyhow, at that moment, I wasn't thinking about the economy. I wasn't thinking about my bill problems. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was on the phone with my wife. I was crying. I was like, I hope I get to see you again. And even that I shouldn't have been probably, so much concerned about. But that's just where I was at. What really should be spoken of, the real problems of life. Why? Because I came face to face with a reality that we don't think about often, that you're going to die. We're going to die. This is the inevitable result of everyone here. What is the solution to this problem? We don't talk. Oh, no, then there's no class in college, or there's no course study matter, what to do with the problems of death. They're trying some things. Let's do some cryogenic freezing and things. It's not gonna work. What is the real solution here? Really, the only offering of a solution is offered by the saints and sages of yore, and this is what's called the religious processes. So this is what's going to be the main subject matter that should be talked about and heard about. What is the relationship with us and God, and how can we establish that relationship? Lest we will just keep being, even if you don't think, because no, we don't believe that, we're going to die and that's it, and either we're going to get spanked in hell for millennia or forever, or we're going to somehow get some paradise where we can have a nice beer with Jesus or something like that. You'd be shocked what some people believe. It's crazy. But they'll get to enjoy all the ways they enjoy in this world, all of the, things that Jesus says are sinful, the worldly pleasures of the flesh. They'll do that in heaven, Western people are so funny when their relatives are dying, They say, yeah, he's sitting at the bar, he's going to have a beer with, have a beer for me in heaven. What? All right. So anyhow, but it's just they don't have any better information. But,
I've also seen people take bottles of wine or drinks over their graves.
Yeah, because that's how they found pleasure in this world. So they can't fathom a higher pleasure, So they're just like, well, I hope you're intoxicating yourself in heaven. My God. But what can be done? Actually, if they knew of a higher sense of pleasure, then they would be able to say that, even the Muslims, what's waiting for them in heaven is 70 to 2,000 virgins. Because in this world, sex life is the highest form of pleasure that you can experience with the material body and its senses. At least unless you discover the deeper spiritual pleasures, which are hidden to the masses of people. So, for them, 72,000 virgins, a bunch of sex in heaven is, that's what heaven looks like to them, so that's their goal, and some of them do crazy things to attain that, there's the radical Islamists, do some wild things, blow themselves up or this, that, and the other. Because, what's driving them? There's going to be a ton of sex waiting for me in heaven. And it's just, it's crazy actually, but this is, what's driving people. But why? But at least they're, having some understanding that there's at least the sex in this world isn't good enough, and it's filled with problems, and that, hopefully my sex situation in heaven, that's really... I mean, obviously with the Vedic religion, it's no offense to any Muslims, and I'm sure I overgeneralized their religious process. But, there's a much more sophisticated goal that's given by the Vedas, and that's to reestablish our relationship with the Lord. And even the Christians understand this to some degree as well, to establish this personal relationship with God. They do so through the via media of Jesus and the incarnation in the form of Jesus, but that actually is the process that the Vedas speak of as well. So anyway, these things are, very interesting. So, 1, those persons who are materially engrossed, being blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth, leave many subject matters for hearing in human society, O Emperor. So who are the materially engrossed people? Household people. Graheshu grahamedinam. The people in their homes. Your parents, my parents, all of our relatives, everyone except renounced people in the world. And what is the symptom? Prabhupada he's foreshadowing here to the next verse. They're envious. Envious people. And so we should know, actually. And envy is the final solidification of being completely in ignorance. So these people are also completely in ignorance. What's the first symptom of ignorance? Kam, having material desires. And then when Kam is there, you have some material desires, you become greedy to attain such desires. So then you are eagerly pursuing it, and you'll leave behind all good activities to eagerly pursue your lusts. Kam, and then Lob, and then when it doesn't work out how you want, because you make mistakes and it's impossible to always secure all your greeds in this world, like Gandhi famously said, there's enough here for everyone's needs, but there's not even enough for one man's greed in this world. Which is why the billionaires are trying to be trillionaires, and then the trillionaires will try to be quadrillionaires, and it'll never stop, like that. And then Lob will lead to what? You can't fulfill all your greeds. So then when people get in your way, or obstacles get in your way, what happens? Crowed. You'll get angry. This person did this, and this circumstance did this, or what's the anger? Maybe the anger will turn towards yourself. How could I have messed this up? Why? Because it's all stemming from some lust, and then the pursuit of the lust, and then that Krodha, that anger, leads you to be in what? Illusion, bewilderment, moha. And then you start acting crazy and doing things that you don't even know what's in your best interest anymore, and you're just so flustered and you just do stupid things. Like people kill people out of anger. Even though in their mind they know, yes, killers are persecuted. And the police have incredible technology. It's really hard to get away with killing people now. Before, even like 70, 80 years ago, you could kill somebody and you could cover it up pretty good and get away with it. But now with all the forensic stuff and the technology, if you kill somebody, you're screwed. That's it. You just ruined your life. But in the heat of anger, in the passion of anger, all good sense is polluted, and then you just do stupid things. Yes? Yes. So then in this illusion and moha and then what arises from this pursuits and acquiring of one's lusts and gaining these things and acting in this way, you become very proud of what you've acquired or what you've so-called accomplished, attained. Just see how beautiful my wife is. Just see how beautiful my career, my job, and my house is. And then there's this competition going on. Yes, and it leads ultimately to the final solidification, envy. What is it? Matsya? Matsya. So this envy is this is the vicious cycle that's plaguing everyone. We're all competing with the Jones family, whoever the Jones are, but we're all competing with each other in this world. But this is the activities of one in illusion. And these persons are ultimately sages. They're not so interested in staying with such persons so long because they have really bad qualities. Envious people, lusty people, greedy people, like this. And who are these people? The homeowners, the householders of this world. Yes, these are the people. So we should actually, Prabhupada was saying, have grahastha ashram, where we should take shelter of the Lord, the Vedic principles, and these sages to purify these places, the homes, and to have a home based on making spiritual advancement. Very rare. Everyone is in Grihamedi. I don't want to say ashram. Grihamedi life. Very few are in grahastha ashram. Even many devotees like the idea of grahastha ashram. They say, I'm in grahastha ashram. I'm entering grahastha ashram. Grahastha ashram is an actual home you can take shelter of. An actual home that elevates people's consciousness, your consciousness. The activities elevate consciousness. That's grahastha ashram. If you go home and the activities degrade consciousness, not grahastha ashram. So that's why we're here. We have an actual Grahastha ashram program every day where we worship the Lord together. We discuss Bhagavatam. And yes, there's many other activities we do here through the day. Some bring you up and then some bring you down, you know. And you can notice what's bringing you down. You can feel it. But this activity will bring you up every day. Just hearing about the Lord and discussing these subject matters, chanting the Lord's holy names, worshiping the Lord, singing songs, glorifying and praising the Lord. So this is what we're doing here. This is not what... one of the reasons I wanted to do this, one, because to live in Grahastha ashram is not so easy, and as you see, especially with all these deities that were not thrown upon us, because this is their home, but we were thrown into this of having to maintain and care for all of these deities of the Lord. It's actually a lot. It really should not be done by one person. You know, a proper Grahastha ashram setup is you have just one small set of deities that can be maintained easily between husband, wife, and family, and no problem. But having all of this here is, you know, this is kind of like a temple, you know, like that. So there needs to be a few pujaris, there should be a few people arranging all the duties together, which is why Krishna has arranged so many nice devotees to come and serve, because it cannot be done. So, but this is actually Grahastha ashram, and this is also this foolish, ignorant, envious life can be mitigated when everyone is engaged in worshiping the Lord. So we should see. So why are we talking about that? This is the last verse. Nidraya hriyate naktang vyavayena cha vavayaha divacharte haya rajan kutumba badanena va. Nidraya, by sleeping. Hriyate, waste. Naktam, night. Vyavayena, sex indulgence. Cha, also. Va, either. Vaya, duration of life. Diva, days. Cha, and. Artha, economic. Ihaya, development. Rajan, O king. Kutumba, family members. Bharanena, maintaining. Va, either. Oh my God. So this verse should just smack everyone right in the chest. You know, like... the lifetime of such an envious householder is passed at night either in sleeping or in sex indulgence, and in the daytime either in making money or maintaining family members. How often this is so prominent. We're all sleeping at night, and it's ideal we're not indulging in sex indulgence, but as married people, everyone knows this is what is happening, that people getting engaged in these things. Men and women don't come together unless that attraction is there, So that's what, on one step, that's what's happening. And in the daytime, either going out and making money all day or doing what you're supposed to do so you can make money. Or, and even me, I avoid, I can't stop sleep, but I avoid, I'm not so engaged in making money, but now with Abhiram, I'm maintaining my family members practically all day, it's happening, This is how and it's not the envious householder, but this is what Grihamedi, these are how these envious people, they pass their time. Sleeping, sex, making money, and maintaining family members. Practically all the time of most people of the world goes in this. So what's the solution? Let's see. Purport. The present human civilization, so this is Shukadeva Goswami's saying, the present human civilization is primarily based on the principles of sleeping and sex indulgence at night and earning money in the day and spending the same for family maintenance. Such a form of human civilization is condemned by the Bhagavat school. A lot of disappointed people. Parth's, is concerned. This is when you go like this is a symptom that the heart is, it's a physical expression of an emotional thing. So like when people have a conversation, like if you were having a direct conversation, I would say, wait a second, and I'd open your arms just so. Such a form of human civilization is condemned by the Bhagavat school Because human life is a combination of matter and spirit soul, the whole process of Vedic knowledge is directed at liberating the spirit soul from the contamination of matter. The knowledge concerning this is called Atma Tattva. Those men who are too materialistic are unaware of this knowledge and are more inclined to economic development for material enjoyment. Such materialistic men are called karmis, or the fruit of labors, and they are allowed regulated economic development or association of women for sex indulgence. So, these are the karmis. So even what is the goal of the karmi? To get what? The fruits of karma. A karmi gets the fruits of karma. So a person, and you should just check yourself, am I a karmi? And actually in the beginning of one's devotional life, you'll almost certainly find, yes, I'm a karmi. Meaning I want the fruits. I'm working for fruits in life. I want XXX economic situation. I want XXX wife situation, XXX children situation. These are all fruits of karma. All fruits of karma. And so, these are the most materialistic men. So the Vedas give some prescription of how they can achieve their desires and, what types of worship they can do, what types of fasting they can do, what type of mantras they can chant, what type of demigods they can worship. And that's what most of the Veda culture is about. How to help the karmis engage this in some type of upasana or worship and gets the fruits of their desires and also gradually makes some advancement in being engaged in yajna rather than the demons who just try to steal the fruits of karma and not cooperate with the natural systems. So, we'll talk. I want to talk about a verse from here. But those who are above the karmis, that is, the jnanis, yogis, and devotees. Jnanis, who are those involved, they know how miserable the process of karma is, how miserable the karmis are, and how envious and miserly their lives are. So the jnani is not, no, I will not engage in karma. Because they're engaged, they have received knowledge, they've become detached from karma. And also the yogis, like the jnanis, they're also detached from karma, and they're interested in more in the meditative processes. And devotees, best of all, they understand the futility of karma, even in jnana and yoga. Because jnana, you can be liberated from suffering. In yoga, you can achieve mystic perfections. They all have some type of pleasure they give. Karmis, you can get fruits of karma. You can get money. You can get this thing. But what comes is you'll just be miserable. There's no happiness for the karmi. But the jnani, they are tired of misery. They don't want to be miserable anymore, but they can be free from misery by being fully situated in jnana, and they never engage in activities that make them miserable anymore. They don't engage in the debts of karma. And the yogis also, they don't engage in those activities, and they engage in the meditative processes, and they can achieve some type of mystic perfection. And the jnanis can have some type of pleasure in being beyond the miseries of this world, to being liberated. And so can the yogis, and they can achieve some perfection. But best of all are the devotees, who actually, they're free from the miseries of the material world, but then they also engage of the pleasure of devotional service, of bhakti, of the spiritual attainments. If you can imagine, the material world, the karmis just keep getting in more and more karma, which is like debt. You take loans out, right? You got your loans. They're getting more and more debt. And if you just take out this credit card, you can get this, and this, and you can enjoy all this, but then you get more and more and more in debt. All right, now I have a mortgage, and now I have to maintain, my wife. Now I have to maintain my son. And you just get more and more debt and more entangled. But the jnani is this, I'm not going to get in debt. I'm not going to engage in all these things that are getting me in debt. So he'll stop. So he's not in debt, but he's not profiting either. The yogis also, maybe there's not getting in debt and also feeling some sense of profit, but not so much. But the devotees, actually, they work on actually profiting. They're not getting in debt, and they're profiting, because they're engaging in real spiritual pleasure. So the jnanis, yogis, and devotees are strictly prohibited from sex indulgence. The karmis are more or less devoid of Atma Tattva knowledge, and as such, their life is spent without spiritual profit. No, Prabhupada's giving this analogy. The human life is not meant for hard labor, for economic development, nor is it meant for sex indulgence like that of the dogs and hogs. It is specially meant for making a solution to the problems of material life and the miseries thereof. So the karmis waste their valuable human life by sleeping in sex indulgence at night and by laboring hard in the daytime to accumulate wealth, and after doing so, they try to improve the standard of materialistic life. Yes, is this not the activity of most people you know and maybe yourself, right? We should not be a karmi. The materialistic way of life is described here in a nutshell, and how foolishly men waste the boon of human life is described as follows. So Shukadeva Goswami, he starts out by saying, it's good that you've asked us such questions. For most men, they're foolishly wasting their life. And when we see this, we're like, oh shoot, I'm foolishly wasting my life. Even when you take to the process of devotional life, you might find, yes, I'm doing some good things every day for some portion of the time, but what am I doing for the rest of my time? According to Shukadeva Goswami, I'm foolishly wasting my life. I'm, putting 20% in at the temple, and then I'm 80% in, trying to foolishly waste my life. It's a problem, actually. It's a deep problem. So we should try to find a solution, and everything should be dovetailed. Like, for instance, sex indulgence is very attractive to the karmis. Right? That's why we all got in our relationships. And when we got in our relationships, I'm sure the beginning of our thought was not purely, yes, you're a great servant of God, and I want to protect you as a great servant of God, and I'm here solely for your protection, and to engage in service to the Lord with you. That's not the attraction of why men meet women, right? But if you take that attraction, that lust is there, the attraction of sex life, which is why men and women are attracted to each other, and you dovetail and offer that to Krishna, it can be purified. And Krishna says he is that sex in Bhagavad Gita. So when we have the sex life for the propagation of children, when we maintain children and engage them in spiritual activities, when we maintain wife and engage them also and be engaged with them in spiritual activities, this is how you can purify all these things. Just share a verse from the Upadeshamrita. Talking about Rupa Goswami, we should take shelter of his feet. It goes, Karmibhya parito hare priyataya vyaktim yayo gyaninas, which means greater than the karmis, those who are pursuing karma in this world. All of the scriptures saying are the gyanis. Vyaktim yayo gyaninas, all the scriptures saying. They're more dear, hare priyataya, they're more dear to the Lord, to those engaging in jnana over the karmis, over just base karma. They're more dear to the Lord. So we should know, if we want to be more dear to the Lord, we should engage in karma over jnana. But then he says, Tepyo jnana vimukta bhakti parama. Above them is the jnana vimuktas, who are completely liberated through their jnana and bhakti parama. They understand that bhakti is topmost thing. Devotion is topmost thing. So even more dear. Even above them in dearness to the Lord are the liberated jnanis who understand the glories of bhakti and engaging in bhakti. And then he says after that, bhakti parama, tebyo jnana vimukta bhakti parama, premaikash nishdastata. Tata, and above them are premaikas. Premaika nishta. Premaika nishta. One who is eka in prem. Their one pointed focus is in prem, in the love for Krishna, love for the Lord. And nishta, they're fully fixed and determined in this. So even they're even more dear than the jnana vimukta who understands bhakti as topmost thing. the ones who are fixed in their love for the Lord. And then he's saying, Tevyas pashupala pankajajashas tabyo pi saradika. And he's saying above them are the Tevyas to pashupala, are the animal protectors. Pashupala. Pashupala Tevyas to pashupala pankajajashas. Of whom that pankajajashas, that lotus-eyed gaze, falls upon. So meaning the animal protectors, the residents of Vrindavan, who Krishna's eyes fall upon. So this is like the gopis and the gopas, the cowherd people of Vrindavan. But it's actually meaning mostly the gopis. And then Tabyo Pi Saradika, and even above them, it's his dearmost Radharani. Tabyo Pi Saradika. It's Preshta Tadvariyang Tadiya Sadasi Tang Nashrayat Kakriti. So he's saying, similarly, Preshta, and even more dear, and similarly dear, Preshta Tadvariyang, yes, Preshta Tadvad means similarly more dear. Yam is this Tadiya Sarasi, this related lake of Radharani. So this is also good for the bhajan and andis. If you go to in Vrindavan to do bhajan or to do proper worship, one should there should be one very holy place because so many wonderful things happen. We'll talk about it Wednesday because it has to do with the subject matter I sent you, which is why I'm going to take Wednesday's class because it's a high subject. But it has to do with the pastimes at Radhakund. But this is this Radhakund. Tang Nashrayet, who would not take shelter, Kakriti. What intelligent or what type of kriti or accomplished person would not take shelter of such a place? So if you have yet to go to Vrindavan, you've gone to Vrindavan? You grew up in near Vrindavan, 3 hours away.
I have never been.
Oh my goodness, we must take you.
3 times my plan cancelled.
Yes.
One with there
Yes. It's actually very difficult to go to Vrindavan. And I've heard of the case many times. Even the first time my wife was we were to go to Vrindavan, Krishna canceled our train. There was some bombing on the train that we were supposed to take. He let us go, but going to Vrindavan, there has to be a certain level of sukriti or purity that is there so that you're ready to go to Vrindavan. Because even if you go to Vrindavan and you make an offense, it's worse. Just not going. not I don't know about that, but it's not good to go there and make offenses. So you should purify your mind and heart before going. So it's probably good. Krishna is protecting you, but now you should go with the right frame, under proper guidance. So we'll help you with that. So, but we should understand the progression of those who are dear to the Lord. And the devotee is trying to be exceedingly more pleasing to the Lord. That's what devotion is. How can I be more pleasing to the Lord? And he's telling you. For those engaging in karma, not so pleasing. Those engaging in jnana, yeah, that's better. I'm more pleased by that. Those who are liberated by jnana and they understand the glories of bhakti, even more better. Very nice. And then he's saying, and even better than them are the premaika nishtas, those who are one-pointed, fixed in their love for me. Everything they do has to do with devotion to me. Oh yes, that's very dear. And then naturally, where does the progression? What happens? What is even more dear to him than that? Yeah, you become the Tevyasta Pashupala Pankajajasha. So even more dear are the animal protectors from which his lotus gaze falls upon. These are the residents of Vrindavan. Actually, that's the goal of the devotee, going back to Godhead. That's what you'll be. An animal protector in the village of Vrindavan with Krishna. You know why? Because this is actually what the real heaven is described. Or the highest realms of heaven. Actually, there's infinite amounts of realms of heaven. And depending on one's ishta and purity, ishta means your fixed a dear, you could say, form of the Lord. Like some people might be, they might be fixed in their worship of Nrsingadev, which our acharyas don't recommend that that's not anyone's ishta in our lineage. But that person, there's a Nrsingadev form. It has its own heavenly planet, and he has devotees. And for that person, they can be there and go and worship the Lord, and the Lord arranges that. Like the Christians, their ishtadev is Jesus, and there's no talking them out of it. It's only Jesus. So Jesus, he's there waiting, and he has a place, and he describes this place. He's there waiting for the Christians, these sincere Christians who properly followed and obeyed and loved him and served him with love. He's there waiting for them, and he will help them go to the next platform from where he is. Like that, and give them a tremendous amount of pleasure by being available. But the Vaikunthas are described like that, the spiritual realm, and there's different forms of the Lord. There's all kinds of different incarnations of Vishnu and different devotees of each type of incarnation of Vishnu. But then there's the eternal residents of Dwarka who are attracted to serving the Lord in this royal opulence, or Mathura, like that. And then there's the highest platform, is this Madhurya, sweet pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan. But even there's the Ram Bhaktas. They're really attracted to serving the Lord in his Ram incarnation and like that. So the Lord gives himself in different proportions. But if you want the Lord in his fullest proportion, it's Krishna in Vrindavan. That's the fullest portion of the Lord. So that's what the Bhagavatam is going to lead you to and show you. Hopefully we get it, and hopefully we develop a bhajan and an aim towards that, and our life acts accordingly. But realistically, where are we right now? Karmibhya. We're practicing karma in so many ways. So we must stop engaging in karma and engage in bhakti. And do you know how to do that? What is the one thing that transforms karma to bhakti?
Association.
Yes, but what is not just association, there's also an internal thing that has to happen. What do you think, Parth?
Surrender.
To?
Krishna.
How?
That I don't have service to talking about it.
What type of devotee?
Yeah.
Yes, and that pure devotee would act as your guru. So, the only way that your karmas or your activities in the world can be transferred out of this lower hellish envious realm of karma to bhakti is that everything you do is for the service. All of your karmas or your activities are for the service of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava. So the devotees, but ultimately Guru. The Guru is the prime mover in your life. So yes, you should do many activities. Don't stop doing activities, but you should do them for the service of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. Yes, work, maintain facility for the service of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. Yes, do all these activities that you're doing, but how do you do that? Very difficult. Very difficult. But we have to see where we're at. Most of it is for our own desires, and this is karma, and the result is misery, actually. You'll be a miserable person, you'll be an envious person, and yes, and most people are this, unfortunately. But we can be more dear to the Lord by learning how to offer our, karma yoga, and then even more so to become engaged in bhakti yoga. So, it'll take some jnana, some realization. That's why we tell everyone to study Bhagavad Gita and to study Bhagavatam, because now jnana is being imparted to you. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita, right? This divine knowledge will be manifest in our heart. And then when you go and engage in karma, you'll think about it. I'm engaging in karma again. You'll think about it because you heard that it's manifested in your heart. This divine knowledge, you know better now. And then you'll suffer even more, actually. That's how it works. You'll suffer even more than the karmis who are suffering because they don't know. They don't really have a better option. That's why they're, hoping that they can go have a beer with their relatives in heaven because they don't really know of a better thing. But, for the one who's been given this divine knowledge, Yeah, and then if you go back and try to do the same activities, the Lord gives you even more misery than he gives them. They're doing the same thing. I'll give you an example. I My eating, I know all of the different devotional cleanliness standards in my life. I know them and I practice them and I eat all only with them. And if I just, am very careless, I get sick way easier than everybody else. You know, people can eat meat and flesh and this, that, and the other, and they're getting problems. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely problems for everything they eat, but they can carry on in the world and they suffice. If I had that one time, knowing how wrong and bad it would be for me, and I really want to enjoy like that, I'll get so sick. It always like that. Why? Because I know better, and the Lord has a certain responsibility for me. And so you might find, a lot of times I'm really particular. No, I can't take this. I can't. Because I know a certain protocol that I should be doing to nourish my body and mind and then offer what I should be personally offering to the Lord. I know. I know many, many different things. Not many, many, but I know more than you could say like the baseline of what to do. And if I don't follow, the Lord, he's extra hard on me, you know? And so similarly, when the devotee, to do better things in life and then you go back and do the things you should not do, you'll suffer even more than other people doing those things. Oh, I don't get it. Why? I don't get why I'm suffering. Why? No, because you know better. So the Lord has to hit you with the chastisement rod even harder because you know what to do better. Like they do this even the law. If you meditate on murdering somebody, they'll punish you much worse than if it was just out of a fit of rage. The charges will be astronomically worse if you premeditated murder. It's like a whole subsect in the law. You've heard of that, right? In America, they have these subsections of murder: premeditated murder, or even manslaughter is accidental murder. They have tiers of murder, So, and they'll punish you based on what you've done. So the Lord is also, if we know better, we know the glories of bhakti, we know what should be done, and we continue to go back and try to do the things which should not be done, and engage in the activity of the envious householders, the karmis, then we'll suffer much worse than they'll suffer, than our peers and the same activities. Like you in the lab part, you probably notice, all of my peers, they're working and doing many things. If you do those things, Krishna will give you extra, strong punishment. But for them, he just lets them go and they don't suffer at all, it seems. It seems that they're barely suffering. There's definitely things there, But this is the nature. You can't know better, and then it's like acting in premeditated murder. You know what should not be done, but you meditate on it. Yes, I'm going to do it anyway. And then Krishna, he gives you extra strong punishment. So we have to engage in this bhakti, and we're learning what is to hear about. Like Divyanshu, he now knows. He liked some TV series in his life, and he now knows I should not be hearing about these things. I should be hearing about the Lord. So now when he goes and he does, if he does fall back into certain activities again, he'll feel like his life has been wasted, and the Lord may even arrange circumstances in his life that he'll be feeling like he's wasting his life even more. So now it's time. Divine knowledge is coming to us, so we have to we have to take it to the next level, and if we don't, then Krishna has to poke us harder until we do, and so he's doing with everyone. That's what the results of karma are. It's just a poke, just to remind you, you shouldn't focus on these low things, so you have to suffer to some degree. But for the devotee, he loves even more, he'll poke you harder. If you love your child and he's really bad, like if somebody else's child does something, like sometimes Nadia is here. And Nadia is not our child, even though we love Nadia and she's part of our community. But if Nadia is bad, we just have to accept. We hope maybe Danya will punish her, but we cannot do anything to Nadia because she's not our child. We can, if she was really bad, we say, Nadia, please, please. But if Abhiram, is doing it, it's our child, you're extra hard. Are you kidding me? Your parents were very hard on you. Like, so the Lord, because He loves us, He has to be extra hard on His. I'm responsible for you. You're my devotee. You cannot act like this. And He'll go extra hard on you, and He'll give extra hard punishment for you, just so you know better. So we should try to understand this and act accordingly, and not be engaged in karma, even not being engaged in vijnana, the process of enjoying our knowledge of the material world. We should rise to the higher and engage in bhakti. So anyway, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So very good. I'm glad you guys engaged me in the service, because my nonsense in life wants me to just sleep and rest. And I was thinking, oh man, should we skip Bhagavatam today? I was thinking about it. Everything seems